Hello everyone. I thought I would show you the minimal kit that I think you need for a bushcraft trip of multiple days. So I'm not talking about any luxuries, just really the bare bones, the basics that you need to make yourself comfortable. I'm not talking about just surviving, but to be comfortable for multiple days out in the woods or in the wild. What do you need? Let's get into it. Okay, so here is my kit and I'll talk you through each bit of this. So first thing that goes in is always going to be a first aid kit. Never leave home without it, especially if you're bringing a knife with you or any kind of bladed tool, or if you're having fire, then you've got to have your first aid kit in there. That's got things like an Israeli bandage in it and just all the essentials really, burn cream, etc. Moving on, little possibles pouch. So this is a little pouch I made myself, very simple, as you can see, a little drawstring thing. And I've got a bit of string there, you can use that for lighting fires or tying things obviously. I've got the remains of a very well used fire steel, my trusty Swiss Army knife with a whistle on it. Then we got some homemade insect repellent. It's basically lemon balm, lavender, beeswax and so on. Works a treat. But if you do get bitten, it's good to have some plantain balm you can rub on things, or if you get stung with some nettles or anything like that, really soothes the skin, so I bring that with me. And a torch of course is essential. And moving on, my trusty Laplander pull saw. On some trips I will bring a different saw, my homemade buck saw perhaps, but this is the basics we're talking about. And then obviously a decent bushcraft knife is essential. This is my Castrum bog oak handle. Nice chunky full tang knife, it's not going to let you down. And it's got a little fire steel on the thing, which I like as well. I acquired this by mistake, having ordered a completely different knife. They sent me that one, which is worth a lot more, so I thought, well, okay, what the hell. Food bag, so another of my homemade bags, a bit bigger this one, and that's just got my food in it. Basic, this is a titanium plate, knife, fork, spoon set. Now, this is really important. The water kit. It's been used quite a lot, and you can see it's got a bit of ash in there. I'm not sure, it might be something in the water. I don't know. Anyway, it's got a bit white and dusty in there. But this little kit cost me, just this bit here, about 12 quid years and years ago. It's just aluminium, dirt cheap, and this is 750ml. The cup is 500ml. I made this out of a coat hanger, which is perfect. Stick that on a pot hanger, which I don't bring with me. I make this in the woods obviously, and away you go. You can process water. That's just essential really. And yeah, I'm not going to be able to process masses at a time, but for one person it's enough. You can boil up 500ml. You can just keep doing that. I'll come back to that. I put things in a slightly wrong order, but let's just carry on along the line. That's just my toothbrush kit. Bit of tissue. This is another essential. It's got a little trowel in here, lighter, more toilet paper and hand sanitizer. So that's my toilet kit. Washing up kit, a few little scrubbers and a little thing of biodegradable multi-purpose soap. That's the Life Systems one, it's really good. And then this is my filtration kit. So this bag came with the millbank bag I bought, which is actually not in here, it's over there, hanging up to dry. There we go. But in here I also have a syringe for back flushing, this bad boy, that is a Sawyer micro squeeze, I think it is. Had it for years and it works an absolute treat as long as you keep back flushing it. That's why I always bring the syringe with me. It works really well. And then that attaches to my trusty old platypus 1 litre I've had for years and years, been around the world multiple times, that has. So yeah, moving on. Oh, actually, just to finish off on that, yeah, so I will sometimes bring tablets with me as well. It depends on the state of the water really, but generally if you've got running water, as I have with the little stream here, and you know, you're not too near to agricultural land or whatever, and you're doing the coarse filtration, then the fine filtration, and this goes down to 0.1 microns, I think it is, tells you on here somewhere. Yeah, 0.1 microns, so that's pretty fine. And then boil it and you're good to go, really. You're going to be fine. I never got sick. So moving on, that is just a little extra coat in case it gets a bit chilly. Also works quite well as a pillow, although it's not my primary pillow, as you'll see in a sec. A beanie, essential I think, really, always got to have one. It's my sleeping bag liner. Could squish down a lot smaller than that, but that is a snug pack silk sleeping bag liner that I bought years and years ago, and it's been stitched up a few times but it's still going strong. It's great. Silk has very good thermal properties, so it's a good investment. There is my pillow. You know, it's tiny. You might say, well, that's not really essential, but I kind of disagree. If you're using clothes or something as a pillow, then you're not wearing them and you might get cold. So unless you want to bring extra clothes more than you need, it makes sense, you know, given how small it is, to just bring something like that. Is a good investment, I think. Sleeping bag obviously depends on the season which one I'll bring. I've got various, and then these two aren't in their bags because they're up over there, but that's my DD microlight, I think it's, what do they call it, super light hammock. Very small, fits in that little bag there. And then my Rab Siltarp 2, which is a brilliant bit of kit. Not the cheapest, but worth the investment, I think. And that is it. So all of that lot will fit in that little day pack there. My Milcam recycled canvas waxed bag that I've had for years and years. As you can see, it's seen quite a lot of use. It's pretty grubby now, but still going strong. And that's me. There are other things that I brought along on this trip. So I've got my Dutch oven, which is not a light item to be carrying around. I did bring my waxed poncho, but you could bring a much lighter waterproof, obviously, if weight is an issue. My chair, I do love a bit of comfort, you know. Yeah, not essential, I've got to say. Find a log to sit on like that one, but it's really comfy, that chair, and you know, it weighs under a kilo, fits down into that little bag there, so I brought it with me. Then some other things which I didn't really need, but since I wanted to do some baking, got my wooden bowl, spatula, little chopping board, spoon. These are all things I made myself, not the wooden bowl, but the others I made myself. Little double-walled cup, some extra paracord, some tinder. You might argue that's essential depending on the conditions you're going out into. I do usually bring it with me, actually. Little foraging bag, although, you know, I can use my possibles pouch for that in a pinch, so I don't consider that essential really. And then extra food bag which have my beers in it and so on. So yeah, there's always more you can bring, and that's the temptation. I'll just put that in, it might be useful, but it is nice to be as minimal as you possibly can be. You know, I like to try and whittle it down to as few items as possible and then see how long you can last with just those things. That's a challenge, really. You know, bushcraft is a form of minimalism, and it's about getting back to basics. What can we do away with and still be okay? You know, there are things here that you probably could be okay without, such as possibly the microfilter. You know, you could get rid of that and just use a millbank bag. As long as you boil it well enough and you've got a clean enough source in the first place, you'll probably be okay. Yeah, so of course there are things here that you could lose. You don't absolutely need to bring a little trowel with you. You could fashion one out of a bit of wood, a digging stick, and use that. It'll be okay. Some people might wonder about waterproofs and what if it rains? Well, yeah, a waterproof coat, I suppose, isn't a bad idea. So a lightweight one just to keep the rain off is perhaps a good idea. Depends on the conditions you're going out in, of course. But I'm wearing a woolen shirt, and that will dry out quickly. It will keep a shower off pretty well, actually, and even if it does get wet, it keeps you warm. I've also got, hard to see really, but my Fuel Raven Vida Pro trousers, which are heavily waxed. So again, they'll keep light rain off, and even if they get wet, they don't really stay wet for very long. Plus, with the tarp, you've always got shelter. So you just go under there, and you're perfectly okay then. So yeah, I never really have an issue with it. So there it is, that's my kit. My minimal kit for staying out for multiple days in the woods or in the wild. I think I can last a long time on just that. There are a few things which perhaps aren't that essential. For example, you know, you could make a trowel or a digging stick instead of a trowel, I suppose. Yeah, what do you think? Let me know in the comments whether you agree with my choices, if there's something else you think is essential that I've missed out, or something that I've brought along that I could have done without. Okay, so in case you didn't believe me, here it is. Everything's in there except for those two, which, as I said, are tiny. They'll squeeze in. That's it. All fits nicely.